For this video, we're going to learn how to do 2 different embroidery stitches. Embroidery isn't required for your weaving, but if you want to add different sort of embellishments like this checkerboard that I've added in here, this is a good thing for you to try. It is easier to do if you are still warped up on your frame, but you can do it later if you want to. So I just got 2 needles with string so I can show the 2 different steps. I'm going to start with just a running stitch. The back of my loom is fully cleaned up again, so we don't have any long tassels on the back. If you haven't done this yet, go back and do that before you do your embroidery. For a running stitch, I'm simply going to put the needle up through the bottom of my weaving. Oops. And I don't need to tie a knot. I can just leave the string dangling out the back. And then I'm going to go forward a little bit, about 1 inch in this case, just so I can make a big stitch, and I'll pull the string taut. And then I'm actually going to make this stitch line move in this direction. So I'm going to put the needle up through the weaving again, about 1 inch in front of where I started, and I'll pull that through. And now I'm going to go back in through that first hole that I made. So I'm kind of connecting this chain of stitches, and now I'll go forward another inch or so here and back through that second hole. So you can see how this starts to build up a solid stitch line. It's a little bit closer, and you can kind of drive it in any direction you want. So from underneath, I would go like this here. Well, oops. Okay, so if I'm trying to go forward, I'd bring the stitch forward, and then it's going to come back through the previous hole. So this is what it looks like from the back. Okay, so that's the chain stitch, and then or running stitch, and now I'm going to show you how to do the chain stitch. So the chain stitch is what I did here on this white area. And it's going to be sort of a similar start to the last one. So I'm going to bring the string up from the bottom, again leaving a tail on the back. But instead of moving forward with my stitch, I'm going to go back down into the exact same hole that I came up from, and I'm going to leave a little loop. I'm not going to pull it all the way through. So now I can decide however far I want this chain to go out to. So if I bring my needle up here and then I pull, that loop tightens down around the string that I just pulled up. And so now I'm going to go back down into that hole I just came up from, leaving again another loop, and I'll move forward and come up through that loop that I just made and pull it tight. And at any point I can stop when I'm doing, and if I want to stop, instead of going back down into the same hole, I'll just go right outside of the stitch that my last loop that I made, and I'll come down and bring this a little closer here, pull this tight so that it loops around that last edge, and that's it. You can kind of tie it off in the back. So that's a chain stitch, and this is a running stitch. There are also a lot of embroidery stitches that you can find online or on YouTube. Feel free to look for some other types of stitches. And that is it.